Hey, how's it going, guys? In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create a Python program to export data from Google Sheets to Excel using the Google Sheets API and the Win32com module. So this is going to be a more advanced tutorial, but if you don't have a lot of experience writing Python script or Python program, you can definitely follow along. At least you will learn how to use different libraries to create a simple Python program, or I won't say simple in this case, to create a Python program to integrate different APIs to create a real-life practical application to automate some of the things that you do on maybe daily basis. Here I have a Google Sheets that I already created, and in this exercise we'll be writing a Python program to allow us to using the Google Sheet by providing the Google Sheet ID in our Python script and to export these data sets to an Excel spreadsheet. So here, let me take a look. I forgot one thing. So here I have a blank Python script, and this script is stored in my virtual environment, and I forgot to open the Excel spreadsheet. So here, let me take a look. Okay, let's do this. So here I'm going to create a blank Excel spreadsheet, and I'm going to call this data warehouse. So the Excel file is going to be data warehouse.xlsx. Let me make the icon a little bigger. And here's the Excel file. And the Python script will basically import the data from this Google Sheets from the sales data tab and grab the data and put that into this Excel spreadsheet. And as I mentioned before, we'll be using the Win32com module and the Google Sheets API client library. And if you don't have those libraries installed, I'll link the tutorial in the video description. So here I have a blank Python script, and let me open this Excel file. And let me rename the worksheet to something more meaningful. So let's do sales data, since from my Google Sheets my tab name is called sales data, and we'll make the name identical, I guess. And so here I'm going to first of all import my modules. So I'm going to import the win32.client module. Oops, win32com.client. And let me make the font size a little bigger. And I'm going to make the font size 19, should be good. Okay, I think 19 should be pretty good. Now here I'm going to name this module Win32. And next I'm going to import my create service function for my Google module. And I'll post all the Python script on my website, and I'll have the link in the video description below. So here the function I created is create service, and using this function we can create a Google Sheet service instance. So here I need to create my variables. So we need the client secret file, and here let me grab the client secret file JSON file name. So here's the client secret Google Cloud demo. Okay, so here's the file name. And next, I'm going to create my API service name, and the service name will be Sheets. Sheets. And API version will be v4. And the scopes will be HTTPS and www.googleapi.com. Should be Google APIs, not apis.com, and /auth and /. I'm going to use the spreadsheets.read-only scope, since I don't need to manipulate or edit the Google Sheet. I mainly just need the read-only access. So let me just double check with the scope name. Spreadsheets should be S. Now, so here we need to store our Google Sheet ID. And so go back to the Google Sheets, and every single Google Sheet has a unique identifier ID. So which is, if you go to the URL, is this unique identifier ID right here. And since the Google Sheet is storing on the cloud, there's no actual file like Excel file. So this will be equivalent to your Excel file path. And copy the Google Sheet ID. And we'll store the Google Sheet ID to my, in this case, I'll store that in my G Sheet ID variable. And we also need to create a variable to create a Google Worksheet tab name. So I'm going to call this G Sheets name. And let's grab the Google Sheets worksheet name. So it'll be sales data. And next, I'm going to construct my Google Sheets service instance. Taking the create service function, I need to provide the client secret file and API service name, API version, and the scopes. And here I'm going to construct my the Google Sheets spreadsheet instance. So taking the service and this spreadsheet method that will construct a new spreadsheet instance. At this point, I can basically retrieve any Google Sheet data as long as I have permission to the Google Sheet. So here I'm going to name this variable rows, and the syntax will be GS, so service.spreadsheets.values and .get. So here we need to provide our spreadsheet ID. So it will be G Sheet ID. And we need a range. The range parameter is asking from your Google Sheets and Google Sheets, and what's the cell range that you want to read. So if I want to read the table from A1 to maybe E8, then I will use the range address will be look like this. So sales data and exclamation symbol, and here I'll provide the cell range address. So you'll be A1 to EA, and look like this. And that's only when you want to import a very specific cell range from your Google Sheet. But if you want to import the entire worksheet, so in this case, and that will be 80% of the time, I guess, and you just need to provide the worksheet name, so sales data. So here I need to provide my range value. So the value will be just the worksheet name, sales data. And now that's for the Google Sheets aspect. Now we need to configure our Excel application using the win32com.client library, module. The first thing I need to do is I need to create an Excel application instance. Taking the module, the win32com.client module, and I'm going to use the dispatch to construct my application instance. And the Excel application name will be Excel.application. And once we have the Excel application instance construct, we can create our workbook object. So here, taking the Excel application, and we can use the workbooks method, and followed by the file path. So here's since my let me try it. So I think I can just directly provide the file name, and that should be okay. So let me try. So I'm going to manually run my Python script from line number 1 to line 17. And hopefully there's no typo. Okay, so everything executes successfully. So here, if I just manually run the rows object, and so here I made a mistake. So here I need to execute at the end. So now if I rerun this line right here, and let me clear everything. Now if I print rows, and that will give me all the rows of data from my Google Sheet, so which is from the sales data table. And so if you look at the rows object, and it's actually a dictionary. And if we just print the rows.keys, and we get 3 keys. So we get the range key, major dimension, and the values key. And to retrieve the data only, so we'll use the rows get and values, and that will return the data set as a list. Right, now let's continue. So here we create an Excel application instance in the workbook object. Now we just need to create a worksheet object. So at this point, I mean, basically everything is mimicking VBA or Visual Basic Application. And if you don't have a lot of experience working with VBA, you can always leave your question in the comment section below. So here, taking the workbook object, and want to construct our worksheet object instance. So from the Excel, I want to export the data from Google Sheet to the sales data. Actually, let me rename this. Let me rename the worksheet to data. We want to export the data set to the data worksheet in Excel. So here I'm just going to paste the worksheet name. At this point, you want to think about how your data flow is going to look like. So my data flow is going to look like this. So the first thing I want to do is I want to clear out all the data on my Excel spreadsheet before I do a clean import. So the syntax is ws data object.sales. In sales, meaning that you are referencing the entire Excel worksheet. And I want to use the clear contents method. Should be, oh, that's right, clear contents method. And to clear out all the data on my Excel spreadsheet. And here I want to start inserting the data in row number 1 from my Excel spreadsheet. And since I want the data set insertion to be dynamic, I'm going to create a variable to store the columns count. So using the length function and .data. So I'm going to count how many columns based on row values or row counts in row number 1. So because I'm assuming that with row number 1, and this is going to be headers, and the headers should be a required field, and we can count how many items are available in row number 1, and that should give us how many columns are available for my Google Sheets data set. So here I made a typo, and it should be rows. And this is going to be the last part. So we need to iterate each row from the rows object and basically insert the records to our Excel spreadsheet one by one. So for row in data, oh sorry, should be rows. For row in rows, and so here I will take the worksheet data object, and here I want to make my cell range dynamic. So ws data. Actually, here should be ws data.range, and here will be ws data.cells and row number, and we're going to start from column 1. It should be row number in column 1. But if you need to insert the data set in your Excel spreadsheet starting from, let's say, column D, then you want to change these to 4, because right now we're not using Python. We're not actually using Python anymore. We're actually using VBA. With VBA, the column counts actually starting from 1. So just want to point out. And here, so here I want to set the ending cell range. So from ws data cells and row number, and here we want to provide the column count. And so here, like if we want to insert the data sets in a different column, let's say column D, and here you want to increase the column counts by how many columns you want to skip. So in this case will be, I think will be 4, I think. So you have to either 3 or 4. So you may have to play around with it. But in this case, I want to insert my data set in from column 1 in cell A1. So here let me finish and close parenthesis and close parenthesis dot value is equals to row. And here we need to increase the row number by 1 every time when we insert a row of record. And that's it. Now let me put these side by side. And let me clear everything. Okay. Now let me start over again. So I'm going to run this batch right here by itself. And so that executes successfully. Now we have the Google Sheet data stored in the rows object. So here let me just execute line 20 to line 31. And if I just run this lines of code by itself, and hopefully there's no typo. Okay, there's typo. So here let me stop. So let me just do a check. And we have the Excel instance rows. So let me take a look. Oh, I know why. So here it should be dot value, and since we're still since the rows still taking addition, let me do this. So here after execute, I'm going to do get dot values, and that will only store the data set in the rows object. So here let me just rerun the rows script by itself. Okay. Oh, that looks good. So the rows object is not only containing the data by itself. Now if I rerun the Python script by itself, so here let me just run from line 24 to line 31. And oops. Let me see. Oh, so here I made a typo. Let me try again. And if I do a column counts, and that means I have 5 columns. Let me just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5 columns. Okay, now if I just run line 29 to line 31 by itself. Oops, where's my Excel? Okay, and that finishes. And let me start over again. So let me auto-fit the column. So now if I just run line 24 by itself, and that's going to clear the Excel spreadsheet. And if I run line 26 to line 31, and that's going to insert the data one by one. So here you can see that the data sets from Google Sheet got inserted to Excel. And if we just do a quick check, and we get 101 records, or lines, not records. So 100 records with 101 lines. Now if we go back to the Google Sheets, and here if we just do a quick comparison, and we have 101 rows. And let me show you a trick. So one thing amazing about this program is that if you found a data set that you like that is storing on Google Sheet, if you want to search for any open source or any public data set, not open source, public data set that is storing on the Google Sheets, and you can go to google.com. So you want to make sure you go to google.com. You want to specify your site's parameter. So here we only want to retrieve the result from our Google search where the site's URL is equals to docs.google.com and / and spreadsheets. And here I want to provide a keyword. So I want my Google spreadsheets to have any keyword that relate to data. So it looks like this. And now Google is going to return all the available Google Sheets that is public and is available for you to access. So here, let me just choose a random spreadsheet, and let's choose this one, world most congested city data. And here's a simple data set. So now if we grab this Google Sheet ID, and the worksheet name, so the worksheet name is called Sheet 1. And this time I'm going to run the Python by itself. I'm not going to merely run the Python script. Now if I just press F5, so here's saying that I'm unable to parse the data. Oh, so here, let's see. Oh, so here, okay, before I made a mistake. So here I should replace the range with the gsheet parameter, like that. So let me try again, and that was my mistake. And if I press F5 to rerun the Python script, let's see, so I'm able to parse the range data, sales data. Oh, I know why. Sorry. So here's the one last time. So here, I provide the incorrect Google Sheet worksheet name. So it should be Sheets 1. Let me double check. Sheet 1. Okay. And let me run the Python script again. I think this time it should be okay. Okay, now that finishes. Now if we go back to the Excel spreadsheets, and so here's the data. So okay, that doesn't look. Oh, okay. So this one the drawback, and so remember, we're using row number 1 to determine. We're using row number 1 to determine how many columns are available from the Google Sheet data set. But since the table is actually starting from row number 6, so we should be changing the rows from 0 to 7. And let me try again. So hopefully this time the data sets will get inserted correctly. Okay, now let's go back to Excel, and this time everything looks good. So here we have the table, and so we have the link, URL, and everything. So if we just take a quick look from the Google Sheets, and so here's the data by itself. And unfortunately, when you do an import, it only imports the data. It doesn't format the data for you that match the Google Sheet format. And if you just take a quick look, and here's the 50 regions that were the world's most congested cities. So this is everything I have to show you guys in this video, and hopefully you guys found the information useful. And as always, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys on the next video.